How does one make a humorous poem about a dramatic hamster? Hamsters are often seen as adorable and cuddly creatures that bring joy to their owners' lives. However, sometimes their dramatic behavior can be quite entertaining. If you want to create a humorous poem about a dramatic hamster, there are several things to keep in mind. In this article, we'll explore some tips and tricks for crafting a funny and entertaining poem that captures the essence of a dramatic hamster. The first step in creating a humorous poem about a dramatic hamster is to observe its behavior. Watch how it interacts with its environment and with other hamsters, if applicable. Pay attention to any quirks or idiosyncrasies that the hamster exhibits, such as running around frantically, hiding in its cage, or making loud noises. The more you observe the hamster's behavior, the more material you'll have to work with when crafting your poem. One way to structure your poem is to use a poetic form, such as a limerick or a haiku. These forms can help you create a sense of rhythm and flow in your poem, which can make it more engaging and entertaining to read. Here's an example of a limerick about a dramatic hamster. There once was a hamster so dramatic, who ran in his wheel so erratic. He'd cry and he'd whine, and he'd chew up his pine. This hamster was quite problematic. Alternatively, you could use a haiku to capture the essence of the hamster's dramatic behavior. The hamster scurries, dramatic in every move, a furry diva. To make your poem funnier and more entertaining, you can exaggerate the hamster's behavior. For example, you could describe the hamster as a drama queen, or a diva, or you could exaggerate its movements and actions. Here's an example of a poem that exaggerates a hamster's dramatic behavior. Oh, the hamster with the flair of a Hollywood star, so rare. He'd run and he'd dash in his hamster wheel so fast, and collapse in his nest with a glare. He'd twitch and he'd shiver with fear at the slightest sound he'd hear, and he'd nibble and gnaw at his little hamster straw, till his cage was a mess, oh dear. Another way to make your poem more humorous is to play with language. Use puns, alliteration, and other literary devices to create a sense of playfulness and wit in your poem. Here's an example of a poem that uses alliteration to describe a dramatic hamster. The hamster was a harried little thing, huffing and puffing with every fling. He'd run and he'd romp in his tiny little swamp, till his antics made our ears ring. Conclusion. Creating a humorous poem about a dramatic hamster can be a fun and entertaining way to express your creativity and humor. By observing the hamster's behavior, using a poetic form, exaggerating its quirks, and playing with language, you can craft a poem that captures the essence of this adorable and dramatic little creature. Whether you choose a limerick, a haiku, or another poetic form, remember to have fun with it and let your imagination run wild.